I got that.
Okay, I'm in. You're in.
Okay, we're in. And then you know.
Too good, you two amateurs.
I know.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Okay, we're good? Wait.
We're good? Please talk into the mic.
Okay.
Yes, I'll try my best.
Try what you can.
Yes.
Sleep Time's Over, Cafe the Catalyst, DJ Zach Morris, Season 7, Episode 8.
Hawaii versus Hawaii is the name.
Yeah.
And this name is going to be determined. We're going to get a lot of answers from
Yeah.
a special guest.
Special.
And
Oh, I shiver me timbers.
got that right.
Yes, it's making me a
Legendary.
little bit nervous.
Who would have thought Light Sleepers, the hip-hop, Hawaii hip-hop, would bring in Hawaiian music?
How's that?
Go figure that, people.
That's what I'm trying. We're trying to diversify here.
Yeah, yeah.
It has to have some kind of foundation anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, otherwise, that's just you're just floating around.
Bottom line is local.
Yeah.
Local people.
Yeah. It doesn't matter color, but local.
Local.
You know?
Local, right,
Local.
exactly.
Yeah.
So in
I
case
like
you
that.
haven't figured it out by his voice, it is the man,
Yes.
Mr. Robert Cazimero.
I'm very honored to be here today
Thank
with
you.
you two professionals.
Oh my goodness, you're too kind, sir.
Yeah, you're telling me. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, you don't have to embellish, but
Yeah.
thank you
We-
very much.
This, I might say, by the way, gentlemen, that your view here is quite an interesting view. I really, and I'm not making fun of this, I really like it. It's very cool.
No, it is
No,
really
it's
interesting.
horrible. It's a very bizarre.
Yeah.
You see all kinds of.
You see
I bet.
any kind of stuff come by.
Yeah, but it's really, I think that's the cool part of it. Because, most people go to like the mall to watch people pass by anyway. This way, you can really learn about cars.
Oh,
Or
cars.
you can learn quite about other things.
Yeah,
too.
other things,
really?
yeah.
People's personalities,
Yes.
what people like to do when no one's watching.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, well, yes, of
Yeah,
course.
we had
you was.
people
There was a woman that walked by.
Scratch your genitals in front of the...
Scratch themselves,
We're
lick
like-
the wall, lick the glass.
Yeah, that was gross.
Well, were you guys watching them?
Yeah, yeah.
Really?
I think she was an exhibitionist.
Oh, I love exhibitionists.
One girl got hit, moped got hit over here.
Yeah.
All kinds.
Oh,
of
while we're doing the podcast.
One girl groping the boyfriend across the street,
Really?
and the boyfriend just smiling.
Well, I would smile too.
Exactly
I'll
right.
smile too.
Yes,
Why not?
yes, why not?
Smile.
Well, we're smiling right now.
Yes, we are. We're
So,
not even
alright.
watching anybody grope the body.
They're coming, don't worry.
Anyway, I just want to say thank you for coming to the podcast.
It's
Very
my
much.
pleasure. It's my pleasure.
And just jump straight into it.
Okay.
So what is your... Do you have any? Do you have any hip hop artists that you like? What's your
Actually,
background in hip
I've
hop?
heard some. You mean in general?
In general.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'd have to say that locally, I really wouldn't know anybody.
Okay.
But in general, I'd have to say that I know I like the beat of hip hop,
Okay.
and I like what they say. I don't always necessarily care for the rap part, but I mean, there are some people that do. I don't know who they
Right.
are.
The
But I
production.
just loved it. Yeah, the production stuff is really cool, and I really like when local artists use the Hawaiian language in their kind of a hip hop kind of thing, and because I think I do believe that music needs to expand.
Right.
Any kind of part of a culture that is a living culture needs to adapt in order to grow. But as long as you come from a solid basis, a foundation, then it's, to me, it's
Progress.
Yeah, and it
Change
has
with the
history, and it has a way to go, as long as you have a base to come back to.
Right. And
So-
we're gonna go into that a little bit later.
We
as far
are.
as how
Oh.
Hawaiian music has evolved and what your thoughts on the evolution.
Oh,
But
yeah.
let's take it from the beginning. Like how
Okay.
I know it's a vast history. I don't know how much time we would have to go from
Well,
the
back in
beginning.
1857,
Exactly. Yes.
my parents had
They
me.
arrived.
Oh, nice.
I arrived in 18. No, I mean I've always had
I
music.
mean, we could go from when you were a child, because you were as a boy, you were singing away. You
Well,
were
yeah, I
entertaining.
always tell people
So-
that when the doctor, when you're born and the doctor slaps your popo, I said rather than crying, I just started to sing.
That's it.
And it's been that way ever since. Luckily, because my parents were entertainers, so
Okay.
we had music around us all the time. All of us sang. It was the norm for us. We
Yeah.
thought that that's what everybody else did, and therefore it was a shock to go to our neighbors and find out that their parents didn't sing, but maybe they made up for it by the fact that they made such better food than my
Oh,
mother.
there you go.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
And your parents as entertainers, were they like the stereotypical, like perform for the tourists?
Yeah,
Waikiki?
and also a lot of parties, and for my dad worked for the Navy,
Yeah.
so a lot of military parties
Okay.
and stuff like that. Yeah, greeting boats.
So what school did you go to? High school.
High school was Kamehameha.
All right, there we go. That was a loaded question.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yes, there you go.
I graduated back in the 60s.
All right.
Oh, I thought you graduated with me, 94, bruh.
Sorry.
Are you a 94, right?
Yeah, that's why I said what school you went to.
Yeah, 94. Look at this young kid, 94.
Oh, I was,
my
boy, I
gosh,
was-
I heard that mentioned with his name in the same sentence in a long time.
Yeah, young and me doesn't really jive. But it's okay anyway.
Mature and meanwhile.
Right.
There we go.
And I'm a living proof of that one, I tell you. Yeah, so, I went to Cazimero, sang, and I played music, but when we got out of school, then we started meeting certain people because of the music thing, and then hooked up with Peter Boone. And
What was the music scene like in that time? It was more Waikiki based?
It was a combination of downtown and
Okay.
Waikiki, and it was much more laid back. And really, Hawaiian music at that time was more for a real local audience.
Yeah.
Right.
It was already being shaped by Hollywood for the Howleys that were coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, for the tourists that were coming here. But there was definitely, you had music that would be for us and music that would be for the visitors.
So like Elvis, Blue Hawaii kind of.
Yeah.
Did you meet Elvis and do
I didn't. I
music
was
with
too
him?
young.
You was too
You
young.
guys never encountered each other.
No.
Passing.
When he came here, no. I was just. You can't believe it, but I was younger at the time. But but I think more than anything, especially when we started playing music, to have the opportunity to play with those people that today are considered the legends
Right.
in Hawaiian music, and to be a part of that Renaissance period where it was a changeover of not being aware of who we were to terribly aware, or wanting everyone else to be aware of the fact.
So what year was that terribly awareness?
It would have to be like maybe like late '68 into into the late '70s. That whole thing.
What was going on like socially in the Hawaiian community at that time?
Social in the Hawaiian community, to me, in my mind, it coincides with what was going on with the mainland.
Right.
So as black people were trying to find an identity that would be that you could sort of like make all people understand that basically it's not so much about color as it is about we have the same values. Everybody wants to take care of their family.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to have a nice house, and it doesn't matter what color you are
Right.
or what kind of person you are. And so with that happening, with that kind of awareness going on in the mainland, it was, I guess, because when people ask me about the Renaissance here now, I didn't even know we were a part of it until years later, because we were a part of it, and
Because you're in it, that's why.
yeah,
You're just
we are in
creating.
it, yeah. And it was really the what's the word that I could say? The fact that people were enjoying what we were doing that brought them in, and it became more, I would say, inclusive than exclusive. And then finally, with some kind of recognition, I think it's become exclusive.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Good point.
it was a fun time for us, especially because we didn't realize we were in it.
Right.
We just thought we were having a good time.
Right,
So,
right,
for
right.
example, like maybe 5 or 6 years into it, when people would do interviews with us and say, "What was it like to be there at the very beginning of the Renaissance period?" And it's like, where before it was like, "Oh man, we're just having so much fun. We're drinking, we're going all over the place, partying, blah 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 blah." It had to become like, suddenly you have this responsibility, and people are looking at you, and you're no longer just two guys, Portuguese, Hawaiians from Kalihi, and
Right.
and then you take on that responsibility, and it's been an uphill.
So were you guys shocked or prepared for that kind of
No.
responsibility?
No.
Like they kind of put a mantle on you guys, like
No.
you guys are the leaders of this.
No, you can't, because we're still in the opportunity of looking at elders
Right.
being the force, and we would never even begin to think or embrace the idea that we could ever be anything like that.
And those elders are just,
Yeah.
Who's some of the
they're
names
just unreachable.
for the elders?
Of course, Gabi Pahinui.
Okay, okay, yeah.
Eddie Kamai.
Wow.
Ati Genoa Keave.
Nice.
Kahuana Lake. And just all those people back there. Nina Keli Vahamana, the Rodriguez family, and the history that comes with all that stuff that was shared. Again, that's another interesting thing too. With the internet and the fact that everyone's so savvy when it comes to using that kind of communication or education, we didn't have that.
Right.
And so it was still storytelling time.
Yeah.
And if you were smart enough to be at the right place at the right time, you could hear things about songs that you were singing that were written by people who you only, in this day, in any kind of day and age, and no matter where you're born in this particular linear thing called time, you only think that this is prevalent and present, and that whatever is before you is way in the past. And what happens by meeting people like that is you realize that history isn't that far away. That it actually is really close to you. You have more in common with what happened then than you actually think you did.
Right.
From the very beginning. And so to find that and to realize that and to work with it, and I mean it's carried me to where I am today.
And as you were a part of the beginning, as you were trying to building yourself up in your career, you grad. We have to go and acknowledge the passing Peter Boone.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was a real, the idea of both Roland and Peter now being gone, and that I'm the only one, left,
Right.
kind of like.
Yeah.
I've learned so much by the passing of those two guys. Basically, I was one of those that fought all the time. Everybody would say, when is the next Sunday Manoa reunion? When is there ever going to be a reunion?
Yeah.
And none of us really were into it. And when Roland passed away, I thought, wow, we never had a chance to have like an exit plan concert. Like Cecilio and Capone, for example.
Right.
So I thought that was Poho. And then, of course, then Peter left. And I had, within that time now, other groups had the opportunity to reunite and to perform, not only here, but across the mainland and stuff like that. And I thought, well, that was, in my opinion now, it was a missed opportunity, but it was hard,
Right.
How many albums did you guys do together at Sunday Manoa?
Sunday Manoa, we did about, I think it's 5 altogether, yeah. And there were some little things in between where we played with other people, but that wasn't really prevalent. And speaking of that now, and thank you for bringing that up, the one of the most interesting things I find about the kids who are playing Hawaiian music today as compared to us before is that you stuck with the group that you were with.
Right.
And in this time and place, even the kids who play reggae or whatever it is, people interchange when it comes to musicians and singers.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen very much with us. We stayed right with our group.
Yeah.
And I remember when we had our meeting, a long time ago when Roland and I sat down, we agreed on the fact that in this show business thing that we were a part of, it wasn't so much the show as much as it had to be the business.
Right.
So no matter what kind of misunderstandings or just squabbles that he and I had, it always had to take second place to the fact that we were in the business together.
Wow.
And
It's either you understand it or you don't.
yeah. And either you're committed or you're not.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we're wasting each other's time.
Exactly.
So you guys must have some major scraps being brothers.
Right on stage, bro. Right on stage. I mean, like, people didn't know it, but
Right.
all in all, I was swearing.
Yeah.
And you piece of what. And I mean, when I think about it now, when we talked about it after, we would just laugh. But I mean, it was like serious.
Right.
Yeah. And the curtains are coming down. It's like, you son of a but nobody can hear,
Right.
So, except our manager, who had his earphones on, John DeMello's listening, and he's coming on stage, he's like, what the hell is going on with you two?
With that said, and with all of the stories like that,
Yeah.
if someone were to come up to you hypothetically and say, I want to do a movie of the brothers Cazimero,
I would say why.
that would be a good question.
Yeah.
And I would get actors to portray you in a movie.
Good question.
Would you be okay for something like that?
No.
Yeah. I was thinking you're not gonna like that.
No.
So no one's ever approached you about like a...
No, I have been approached because one of my guys was into that kind of business on the mainland and stuff,
Right.
and they talked about doing one, like like how the Beatles have their things about the live,
Of course.
the
Yeah.
music and stuff like that. The brothers Cazimero, it's music and then put it to dance and all kinds of stuff and play, blah blah blah. But I say wait till I did. Yeah, because because then they're gonna come to me, right, and I gotta.
And
They like the truth, and I cannot tell the truth.
Countless interviews. Oh, yeah.
So later on, somebody says, "Well, Robert told me that that's all hearsay." Yeah. But if Robert said it himself, then I'm dead in the water.
Right.
That's a good point. We'll have to wait a while then.
Yes, keep waiting. Yeah.
I heard you got a good trainer, that's why.
I did.
Well, I don't know.
Okay, now let's talk about that. So this
we go,
man
get
over
ready.
here, Aaron Sakamoto,
Yes.
is my trainer.
Hey!
So yeah, if you guys are wondering out there,
How do you
how is this guy out here?
Right.
How is this guy
Yes.
on this
So I have to
podcast?
say-
Of course, I know your dad too. Yes.
Yes.
So suddenly we have
Yeah,
connections
so
here.
I've known you for well over 8 years. We first met.
Yes, yeah.
And it goes back even further from Sheraton Waikiki. I have to relay the very first
Yes,
time
that's
Wow.
right.
I kind of sort of met you.
Yeah.
Is when my mom used to work for Sheraton Waikiki, and there was an aerobics class.
Yes.
In one of the ballrooms.
Yes.
And she would go to it, and I would tag along, and I would just hang out with her at the office.
And who was in that class?
Robert Cazimero.
Bobby Cazimero was there. Yes. Yes, I was there
You were
working
there.
on huffing and a puffing.
And you were there with a couple other people, and I knew you back. This was like maybe late '80s, early '90s, and I noticed you. And I was like, as soon as I saw you, I knew who you was already.
Really?
I
You did?
Yes, because I'm local.
I remember you.
Yes, I
remember you running
remember
around.
this kind of stuff. So I saw, I was like, oh, that's the guy. And then you started working out, and then you totally loving it. You totally, no, you weren't. You were totally like just said, forget it. And then
Yes.
and then you guys were doing this move. I will never forget this till the day I die. You were doing some kind of move where you're putting your hands out in the air like this.
Uh-huh.
And then you're telling your friend, oh, I feel like I'm on fire. I'm like,
Did I really say
You
that?
remember, you remember when you were a kid?
I remember
Oh
this
my
to this
gosh,
day.
I tell you, I was a
And
dick.
then
I was
fast forward.
dude.
And you just said that out loud. The instructor just kept going. He said, "Who this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know who this is." And then fast forward to 2010, I believe is when we first met.
Yes,
At,
and it was at the Honolulu Club.
Honolulu Club.
But here's this, the first time we went, I didn't know he was going to be downstairs in the club. You remember that? And I was upstairs in the reception
Yes.
floor. And I
Yes.
was like, okay, I'm giving this guy 15 minutes, because that's what I give my classes at the university. If the professor don't show up, I'm leaving.
Right. Yeah.
How did I know that Sakai over here was downstairs?
I was downstairs with
I didn't
you.
even know what downstairs was.
I know. I didn't even know if he was for real. I
Yeah.
didn't because we never met.
It's like a
yet.
myth, yeah.
And you know, because
legend.
I met him, I mean, I saw a picture of all these
Yes,
guys,
all the
the
trainers.
women and men who were
You have a picture,
yeah.
you have a picture up
And
there?
I chose him because he was local.
Oh.
That was it. Yes.
So you're the only one local guy?
Get plenty hours.
Oh.
Yeah.
All military.
Yeah. But I saw his things. I said, okay, this is the one because I had gone with one of my dancers, Dean
Yeah, yeah.
Kita.
Yes.
Worked at the
Shout out Dean. Yes.
Yeah.
Good man.
Worked at the place and he goes, oh yeah, that's Aaron. He's a good guy. You'll like him.
All right, bro.
So,
And then from then he told me about you, and we talked on the phone. I don't even know
Yeah,
if we talked.
yeah,
We did.
yeah, we
Just
did.
briefly, and then we were to set up this meeting.
Yeah.
And then we've never met, and I'm like, oh wow, I get to see Robert Cazimero. It's interesting. Get to talk to him. See what he said. And I'm waiting, and you're not there.
I'm upstairs at the meeting and I'm waiting.
Is this
he's
for
not
real?
there.
Is this a joke?
It's like a movie.
And then finally, we just like we missed, and then we had to go reconnect again. And
Oh, so you guys didn't meet that one time? You guys both
No,
met?
no, no.
no,
I
we
didn't.
didn't meet.
Yeah.
Yeah, we dug out, and then that was it.
And he said, where are you? I said, I was there. He goes, I was there. I said, no, you wasn't. And it was,
It was all sad.
oh my
Everyone
gosh, I'm
sad.
just talking so local. I'm
And
so
then-
sorry. And he was there and I was there and we never ever saw each other the
Yes.
whole time.
And then fast forward to now.
Hey,
Here
now
we
you have
are.
the podcast.
I can't get rid of it. I know
Yeah.
you get rid of
Get
it.
rid of it.
I don't know.
I couldn't get rid of
And
it.
then, how's this? He live across with me.
Go figure out. Go figure.
Ah.
I look at you. I wave at you. You know,
Say
wave
hi.
back.
I know wave back.
I tell you, where you stay at? I don't
See,
know.
oh, I see your BBDs, bro.
Yeah, there you go. I don't
Yeah,
even like talk about that. Oh my.
There you go. Oh, how about that one? Huh? Oh.
Okay, anyway.
So now, and how, this is so kind of you to let him be on radio with you,
Yeah.
on TV, on internet.
Oh,
Yeah.
social media.
Well, we
Oh,
know
social-
each other because we DJed together. Back in the
Oh,
late 90s,
yeah,
early
that's
2000s,
right,
we were
yeah.
DJs. So this podcast basically came from us talking trash and any kind behind the
Make our
DJ.
comments, and it was let's do this.
So we're like, hey, you know what? When I wanted to start the podcast, I was like, who would be a good co-host that I had good rapport with?
And you couldn't find any way, so you got him.
Yeah, so I got it. I see him, I'm like, that's the guy.
Straight in the
bro.
barrel.
Well, I think it's
I
really
need a hopper
interesting.
guy.
I never see him in any other color but black, and today, like,
That's
he's
right.
wearing like green.
I'm
I'm like,
green,
who
yeah.
are you, and what have you done?
Irish.
Aaron,
I figured. Yes.
Sukiyama.
Aaron Sato.
Aaron
Yama.
Satoyama.
Aaron Kunishige.
Yeah.
That's right.
There you go.
So-
And Bobby Kazamara.
Exactly. Do you like being called Bobby?
I hate being
I
called.
was gonna say-
Yeah. When I was younger, some friends, I can tell which period of my life you're from, but I hated being called Bobby. But then when Roland died, I thought, well, maybe I can change my persona and be Bobby Kazamara.
You
You know,
could.
be like Madonna. She just changed herself all the time.
It works for her. Might as well.
Yeah. What the heck? Huh?
I mean, so that as far as like changing in evolving your career nowadays, where do you what's going on currently with you? I know there's the evolution of your halal. and how
Yeah,
you're
but there's an
teaching.
evolution of me too,
Yeah.
because you know what's happened is I'm so used to working with an orchestra,
Yeah.
which is Roland. Roland has always been my orchestra,
Right.
and now to find myself and not even playing bass anymore, but to be at a keyboard
Right.
and to sing and to get to the point where I can do a 2-hour show by myself with my dancers it's an amazing feat.
Right.
And to still have people who will come, first of all, and pay good money
Yeah.
to sit there to watch me monkey out on
Right.
stage.
Right.
It's a humbling experience, and at the same time, it's a rejuvenating experience because, you know, Roland and I used to always talk about the fact that if we ever broke up, I really believed that it was my brother that would make it, and that I was sort of like, you know, just sort of like, you know, teach and stay in the background.
Yeah.
And as he was having more problems with his health and stuff, and we would, you know, I was doing things by myself. It was a learning experience, and I told him I told him that I can do it now, and that was because of him.
Yeah.
You know? But I was mad
Yeah.
because you got to work harder. I mean, we all
Right.
know this. We work for ourselves in a business by yourself. You were working not double but triple, but sometimes quadruple time.
Correct.
Exactly.
You know, and so to do it by myself, I can do it now, and that has a lot to do with the fact that we have all these years of experience and people respecting who you are. Equity, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
We have a great deal of equity.
And then you perform solo, like you're saying, with the piano, like Blue Note.
Yeah.
You're at Chai's.
Yeah, and then that's another thing that's happened too, is that I can sing other kinds of music now. Okay, so I want to say something about reggae. Can I say something about
Yes,
reggae?
please.
Okay.
We have questions.
It is not one of my favorite music,
Yeah.
because it doesn't take much thought, and I say that not to be nails, but I mean, you know, the cha 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 cha.
Right.
cha.
Right.
I mean, we can do that in kindergarten, but what I do find interesting about it is I hear some really beautiful voices, and when I look at the words to some of these things, if you take those melodies and take them and do it in sort of like a 40s classic kind of way, people, I mean, I'm surprised at how beautiful that music can be.
Yeah.
Taken out of the genre of the reggae, because there's a lot of
Are we talking
intelligence.
Jamaican reggae? Or are we talking
Yes,
local-
that's the
I'm
next
talking
question.
about
Like
I'm
the
talking reggae.
Hawaiian.
no, I'm talking
Right.
about it holocaust across the board.
Okay.
You know, yeah, but especially when I zero in on local kids.
Right.
Yeah.
And when they're doing it, and when I read the words that they're singing, I mean, I could take that and put it into my style.
Yeah.
And I think that I could run off with it.
Wow.
It's just, and the melodies, some of the melodies, once you get, for me, and this is just me, and I apologize, but for me, it's once I can get over the cha 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 cha, change that and make it more smooth for me,
Right.
more
Right.
flowing for me, and then add those words and those distinctive melodies and voices of local kids, all kind of local kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell you, it's beautiful music.
I can see what you're saying with the melodies, and it's the beat is such an unoriginal. It needs to be evolved. The beat always
yes.
sounds repetitive.
Right.
It sounds,
That's the way of saying it. I think that more than that, it's like a crutch, because sometimes you're not so sure whether people will listen to your words.
Right.
And so if you have this cha-cha-cha, and
familiar
they're just
beat.
listening to
Yeah,
a
just
beat,
a familiar.
it's more comfortable for them.
Exactly right.
You know.
And then that's
And
where you
I'm
see the monotony of this.
yeah, and I'm saying, like, you know, listen, and this is just a little something to these people, to all of you who are writing this stuff. Don't cut yourself short. You are artists, you have talent, and it can cross barriers, and it can